just to see how the meta shapes up for the attacking and defender bans, because we've seen a lot of Thatcher bans, but Hibana is going to be our first ban here, and that'll be picked by Shook Squad. So we'll see what Reckless decides to ban here for our second attacker.
Yeah, so Hibana is a ban that generally she's the only hard breach that can breach from range. So a lot of times she ends up being a safer option to get open some lines of sight or walls than Thermite. Of course, the obvious downside is the fact that her holes are they can be sort of crawled through or crouched through if you stack two of them, but meanwhile Thermite blows up the entire wall. So give and trade, give and take there. Jackal's the other attacker ban. So that's going to flesh out some of the roamers, and as we've seen already with Theme Park, and as we know from seeing it played everywhere else, including in ranked games, Theme Park is definitely a roamer-friendly map with lots of potential spaces to rotate through, and so a Jackal ban does make sense to give them a bit more breathing room.
So only one operator will be banned consecutively between Joe and PogChamp and Reckless with Shook Squad. That's going to be Mira. We didn't see Maestro, Jackal, or Hibana get banned out at all. We really didn't even see Jackal played out all that much. It was only really on the side of PogChamp with Filthy. And the Hibana ban is pretty interesting to me because your only hard breachers are going to be left with our Thermite and Maverick. And from what we saw with Joe, their only hard breach that they were really bringing was just Maverick. They were trying to draw lines on the reinforced walls, finding one path that they wanted to attack, seeing which path was the better one. Then they are able to progress their Maverick in, soften up the wall, and try to make a breach hole through after they've softened it up with a Zofia impact or an Ash charge. More so Ash charges that we saw. I don't think we really saw that much Zofia play coming out from Joe. This is a different game now. We got Reckless versus Shook Squad. Round number 1 being played out inside a Throne and Armory. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Shook Squad go up above to try to defend over by Office and Initiation and try to defend around Cash just to protect the upper floor there that can be breached up above by the Buck from Razor. So we'll see how S2 defends it. They are bringing a castle to add in some protected rotates and to waste some utility from the attacking squad of Team Reckless. You are bringing a Zofia this time for Team Reckless, as well as an IQ to spot out utility. And then Razor will be on the Buck to create some havoc up above the bomb site, at least above the A bomb site, which is Armory. And Ultra's on the Thatcher just to clear out any electronic gadgetry coming out from the defending squad of Shook Squad.
And Thatcher has become stronger and stronger as, of course, more of this utility gets added. He can take out pest mines. He can take out Mozzie's pest. He can take out Mute's jammers as well. So there's a lot of potential utility that Thatcher can pretty much just easily and safely take out. He can do so behind walls as well. So it's a very strong operator in that respect. Oh, actually, okay, so Benji Mula gives away his position in Cafe here. He might have been droned out directly afterward too, but they definitely know he's here at this point. But so far, the only one potentially able to challenge him is Breezy. No one else is moving over toward this side of the map to flush him out, so I think for the most part, Breezy's just going to end up holding this angle near Cafe. And, oh, actually goes for the aggressive peek. Hitman gets shot up a little bit, but he's still going to keep most of his life.
Yeah, I think he might just be a little bit ahead, but for right now, Breezy does take a little bit of damage onto Hitman. This can be the Jaeger being played out over by Cafe, I believe so. Now Breezy's going to have to rotate over into Cafe.
Okay, and that is an okay start for both of these teams. No one really making too much progress yet, but for the most part, it comes down to whether Breezy's holding the defenders here or if the defenders are holding Breezy there, and it looks like it's the latter, as the defenders are going to end up rotating out and basically giving up top floor control to Team Reckless. However, with the Mute and Mozzie strat, that is definitely serviceable. You have the rotations through the hatches down to sight, and you've already bought a minute and a half of time where just now the attackers are starting to drone out and get information on the actual site itself. On top of that, everyone from Shook Squad got out alive, even though a couple of them are a little worse for wear. It is still monumentally good that they are able to keep their lives, and now they can play this sort of heavier anchor sort of game. And they're going to basically force Team Reckless to push into lots of angles that they haven't really had the time to set up.
Yeah, for the time being, you've only got 50 seconds remaining. Nile has rotated over into the drug lab. There's currently 2 members of Team Reckless trying to make their way over into barrels, but for right now, Toadie's just trying to keep an eye on any flankers as Toadie creeps ever so closely, inching nearer and nearer into Nile. Nile is able to spot out the gun barrel, but Toadie's not aware of that. He'll be able to take care of one, giving out the call out over onto Breezy, who's currently also inside the drug storage. But now Nile not caught out, but Breezy takes care of Nile, who then downs off Breezy. So it's an effective 3v4 now, as Breezy will start to get picked back up by Ultra. Time is running thin here for Team Reckless. They need to start pushing into the bomb site. The Mozzie is so close on in. Flashbang's coming out. Hitman takes care of one. Another pick coming in for Austin. He'll take care of Breezy as well. 1v4 here for Razor. Can he clutch up? And no, Austin from deep inside the throne room is able to take care of Razor. Shook Squad winning out round number 1.
That's pretty much textbook defense when it comes to running Mute Mozzie. You know, they bought a lot of time upstairs, they all rotated out safely, they used up a lot of attacker utility, and overall, yeah, very good play by them to take the first round. And over on the side of Team Reckless, I think for the most part, again, it came down to their sort of execution. One thing I want to see as a shift from Team Reckless, if Shook Squad are going to play a similar style, is I want to see Team Reckless cover some of those hatches on the first floor a little bit better, because it didn't seem like Shook Squad, it didn't seem like a lot of their anchors were in positions to bail out their roamers if something were to go wrong when they were to drop the hatches. So perhaps that's a potential opening for them to pick off 1 or 2 people on the rotate, and that would then help them open up the site. But overall, definitely got to give it to Shook Squad for playing that textbook and really not making a big mistake there.
One thing that I'm a bit confused about right now is Breezy's 6 pick right now. He elected to switch away from the IQ into an Ash, and the Echo got 6 picks. Granted, it was switched away from the Vigil into the Echo, but still, you know that Echo has a chance to be on the board. You know that more than likely he will be 6-picked or played possibly, but obviously that's not the case here for Team Reckless. So for Shook Squad, I think this round is going to have favor them more so than Team Reckless, especially just given the fact that there is no IQ being played out here, and Hitman will have 2 of those Yokai drones to deploy and mess around with Team Reckless.
And as we get into this round, taking a look at some more of this setup, we have a lot of rotations being opened up here, so not a particularly high amount of reinforcements, but there are plenty of ways for the defenders to flank around the attackers if anything were to happen, and I think that's generally a good way to play this this site over on it, bunk beds, because the attackers are going to get a decent amount of map control on the second floor. That part is a little bit inevitable, but we do see there's going to be a bit of a challenge toward it here in Cafe, as we have one member of the team, I think that's Benji again, behind Cafe above the table. He's going to try to prevent any attackers from rushing in.
Currently got the Jaeger of Benji sitting inside a cafe, trying to contest, I believe that's Breezy right outside of the door over by the tables. Now Benji's going to peek around, see if he can spot out the head, but he is aware that he is going to be droned. Just trying to quick peek around, seeing if he can find the head of Breezy. Right now, drones are starting to come in, and a flashbang will flash Breezy as well for himself. So it's not something that you should be doing if you're ever Breezy. But Nile will also be covering Benji and going to assist him as well inside a cafe. Breezy on his lonesome, trying to rotate around, takes the head off cleanly from Benji, having to deal with the Chaos. Now Nile's got a great shot, but he does have the
His back is not covered, and he gets flanked from multiple different angles. Ultra's going to be able to take the kill off of that one, and now we're just down to Hitman alone in a 1v5. He's got the MP5 SD, but it's not going to be enough as a flawless round comes through from Team Reckless to fire back against Shook Squad here on Bunk Daycare site.
Fortunately for Hitman, there on the Echo, his ACOG scope will block the entire body of Razor, peeking down the hall as he was looking over towards the corner that meets yellow stairs. And Shook Squad will fall round number 2 and will be tied at a 1-1 scoreline. So now Breezy, see what he decides to come with. Maybe he'll elect to keep on the Echo, but I completely jinxed that second round. I honestly thought of Shook Squad, given the fact that Team Reckless didn't have an IQ and they had 6-picked the Echo. They sneaked it in there, but they still managed to get flawless rounded. Something that was really unforeseen coming from Team Reckless. And for our third bomb site, we'll be heading back to the same bomb site as round number 2, which is going to be Bunk and Daycare. No real change in operators here outside of Nile. He's their flex operator, their flex player, switching away from the castle into the bandit. Going to go for a little bit more high fire rate, trying to see if he can peek around those corners and also play with that 3-speed compared to the 2-speed and slow fire rate of the ump on that castle.
Yeah, and a trade-off on utility too. The bandit is going to be able to shut down some of these reinforced walls, basically go for some hard breach denial. Depending on where he decides to put them. I don't believe he's going to try to trick anything with them, though, because it's on this site, it's less important to stuff out those exothermic charges than it is on other sites, say like the cache site on Clubhouse, where on this site, the defenders have a lot more wiggle room in order to defend this site, so he's mostly playing that for the weapon, as you have already mentioned. And so as we look down 20 seconds into the round, we see they are still playing a pretty heavy roam style of game, and I do like seeing that. I think that's the way to go on... Wait, did you not see that?
Oh, okay.
Oh no, that was
a silhouette. I thought the same thing too.
Well, there was a silhouette, and there was like a gym bag in front of the silhouette, so it looked like
I thought
a
it was
helmet.
the bandit as well, yeah. But one thing I wanted to mention from Shook Squad that they're doing, they placed the Goyo shield inside a cafe as well as a yokai drone to give intel and to fight around that shield for whoever might be wanting to play inside a cafe. First Goyo shield's gonna get taken care of by Toady. That'll be one of his 2 impacts to be utilized here for the attacking squad. And the only real member that can fight against those Goyo shields is going to be Razor with those nades. So he'll only have, at minimum, 1 nade to work with. But great job for Nile here to go ahead and bandit trick off the exothermic charge. There's only going to be 1 left here from Dakshi. This attack plan is clearly decided to come through from Cash. Hopefully Nile will be able to trick it off, but due to these Zofia concussion mines, it'll force Nile out of position and almost getting caught off guard as he starts to rotate back into initiation.
Yeah, and the defenders are rotating around quite a bit here, but we do have a trade as Nile and Razor take each other out, and Breezy gets a headshot on the Benji Mula too. So at this point, the round is going into Team Reckless's favor, but Breezy has gone down as well. And so with...
Yeah.
Seems like Breezy's pretty safe though.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, we've got an effective 3v3 here unless Breezy gets picked back up, which he will do so. So one thing that I'm noticing from Reckless is that they're very good at picking up their remaining teammates, but sometimes, like we saw in round number 1, it could cost them when they could have just left the teammate down on the ground and try to push onto the bomb site. For now, you've picked up Breezy and made it an effective 4v3. You do have Braxton sitting on that smoke. Hasn't really been able to do much here, but with the IQ not around to find that yokai drone, a member on the yellow stairs is going to be caught with his pants down, possibly. It's going to be Toady swinging around the corner. Great shot from Austin, taking care of the Zofia, equalizing here to a 3v3. Less than 30 seconds remain. You have Breezy rotating up above, gonna have to push into Cafe as Dakshi is there to find Hitman. There goes your yokai drone usage, so plant will not be denied here from those echo drones. 15 seconds on the clock, and now you got Braxton awaiting for a push to happen on in. He'll take some shots and able to take care of Ultra sitting inside of the break room. Now a 2v2. Braxton still sitting inside the site. Dakshi able to take care of Braxton. This is a crucial frag to come through, and now Dakshi will start to plant behind cover. Breezy awaiting, but Austin trying to rotate around. Was Breezy aware the shots coming out, but Austin's location has been known, revealed, taking care of Breezy, but he'll have to fully reload his gun. Takes care of Breezy in the time being. Now Dakshi in a 1v1 here with Austin pushing up, sees the diffuser, but is aware that possibly, maybe, Dakshi is sitting inside a break room, looks around at the wrong time, but he'll rotate away, ring around the Rosie here. Dakshi rotating around, Austin trying to see if he can find him. There goes Doxy. He takes care of Austin, and Team Reckless will win their second round in a row. Round number 3 going into the hands of Reckless.
And that was a really good round by the side of Reckless as well. And overall, I think one of the main aspects of that attack was the fact that they were able to basically squeeze out the defenders and make sure that the roamers didn't really get much off the board. We saw a trade at the very beginning. Breezy got downed, but he was still able to get a kill before he ended up going down. And I think that was a trade versus a down, or a kill versus a down trade. So overall, there's just the gunfights barely going in favor of Team Reckless. But yeah, he was able to get picked up, and at that point, the rest of the rounds started to head into their favor. Really good pushes by Razor as well on that too, and we see a 6-pick on the Kali. Now here is an operator we don't see very often. Of course, we always like to say in Siege that fire rate is king, and well, bolt action rifle is probably the slowest fire rate you're gonna get. So he basically needs to hit these chest shots or headshots in order to make use of the fact that it's a very high power gun, but if you miss that first shot, then there's no coming back for you. And even if you hit it to the chest, there is a good chance that another defender can rotate around and take you out before you cock the bolt back. And at that point, you only get it down and you don't confirm a kill and you die. So there's definitely a give and take there. So a lot of it comes down to how well Breezy can land his shots and how well the team plays around him to make sure those kills are confirmed.
Another thing that I think why Breezy is bringing the Kali is because of the amount of utility that's going to be brought here from Shook Squad. Granted, there's only one deployable shield being brought out here. I'm really confused as to why neither team really wanted to use Goyo outside of Joe. Maybe it's just not within their operator pool that they feel comfortable with. Austin clearly feels comfortable with that TCSG, but for the time being, he's going to be on the castle here to make rotates and create some bit more protection for his team here. So maybe Shook Squad can possibly trade up that castle later on if this strat doesn't work for Goyo. I'd like to see that happen. I do think that Goyo brings a lot of utility, and obviously he brings a lot of utility, but he brings a lot more comfortability, I want to say, to the defending tactics.
Yeah, the deployable shields can be used to cover rotations. They can be used to prevent the attackers from getting space. They can even just be used for threat, even if no one's playing behind a deployable shield or one of the Goyo Volcans. It can still put down a lot of pressure because the attackers have to wonder if there's someone playing behind that or if there's someone ready to shoot it if they were to rush toward it. So there's definitely a lot of pressure that Goyo has, even if he's not actively doing something. On top of that, of course, he's got the TCSG, which is a pretty good gun to frag with, as we've seen quite a bit in Pro League and even at even in some of the major tournaments too. And on top of that, it can do some soft destruction. So overall, just a super well-rounded op that brings pretty much everything you need.
It's a good opportunity to have been wasted there for Reckless's favor. They were able to spot out the Echo rotating into bathroom, possibly trying to go for a sneak pick. But with only less than a minute 20 remaining, Benji's going to find the opening pick here onto Breezy up above the hatch. Now tossing a nade, possibly trying to see if he can find a frag. As it goes off, it's not going to find any kind of mark. Now rotating into initiation is going to be a member from, I believe, Shook Squad. Now Benji trying to rotate back. Braxton on this clash is being so detrimental to the round from the attacking squad of Team Reckless.
And so on the side of Shook Squad, they are trying to see what they can do to get back into this. Razor is going to take out Melee, and that is a pretty good pick for their side as well. So Shook Squad, see if they can pull together their defense. The attackers are cooped up over here in cache, and they don't really have a lot of map control that brings them extra angles on the other side of the map. They're pretty much all pushing from one area, but it seems like we have Ultra coming up the backside. He's going to be the one that puts out the different angles. He takes down Benji Mula, but a flank coming in from Austin. He gets a headshot. Diffuser's down. He pings it, goes for a second one, and Hitman actually takes out Braxton with a headshot, but that does still leave Austin to clutch out the round, and Hitman with him as well, getting a headshot onto Ultra, finishing it off.
Very unfortunate team kill, but it doesn't even matter. Hitman is able to take care of the final remaining member of Ultra and tie up the series here 2-2. That round looked like it was going to go in favor here for Team Reckless, and there was a clear lapse in communication there on that flank. Doxy died. And then the Zofia of Toady didn't even react and turn around, wasn't even ready for that flank, and was the easiest pick to come through on that flanker from Shook Squad. Very well played out to come through from S2. As we see another 6 pick come out here. Delay switching away from Bandit into Castle. So from what it looks like here, at least with the operator composition coming out from Shook Squad, they're mostly just rotating the lay around Castle, Castle and Bandit. More so just to see if they want to go for either, roam potential or for hard breach denial. And I'd like to see they are bringing the Mute Mozzie meta as well, and they finally are bringing a Goyo, so this is really good news. There is no Wamai being played. Maybe you could swap in the layout for Wamai to try to create as much destruction or least amount of utility being utilized by the attacking squad as possible. Because you bring Mute, you bring Mozzie, you bring Jaeger, and you also have Wamai to burn off attacker utility. And you have the Goyo there to burn off as much attacker utility as possible with those 3 deployable shields. And it just creates a lot of chaos for the attacking squad if they don't take the right amount of utility.
Now, it is sort of weird that we see on the side of Team Reckless, they took breach charges on both IQ and Thatcher. On top of that, they have a Buck and a Zofia, so that is a ton of soft destruction, and not all that much in order to actually flush out a site. And the only person who could potentially burn down some of these ADSs is Doxg, and potentially Toady if he wants to burn some of his concussion grenades in order to do it. But a lot of times you can get a lot of information with those, so sometimes it's not super worth it just to use those to burn down an ADS. But they do have that option in store. But still, I don't know if they need that much soft destruction.
Right. Still, I mean, you want to at least create as much of an avenue for as much of an advantage up above for your team as possible. And you are also bringing that IQ to spot out exactly where those electronic gadgets are being placed. And if the defender's on cams, you can also spot out that as well. So for the time being right now, the Mozzie of Benji is going to take care of one of the drones coming out from Team Reckless. So now Razor potentially trying to find his way into the control room, but I'll go ahead and drone out the initiation just one more time to make sure that there aren't any defenders being left roaming up above. So now Toady's just being cautious, making sure that no one's around him inside I believe, office or initiation, just so that way he can go ahead and start to place down some of his utility alongside Breezy and Ultra.
And some of the castle barricades in this case are used in order to cut off the attacker angles, which makes it safer for the defense to rotate back to site. And that's one of the main reasons we originally saw Castle start being brought into this Mute Mozzie lineup, is because the Mute Mozzie, their goal is to stay on the second floor, their goal is to burn as much time as possible, burn a lot of utility, and on top of that, you have a Castle which secures the rotations back to site. And that's one of the biggest reasons why we see Castle run alongside a Mute Mozzie. So now they can drop down the hatches, which they've already done, back to site, and again, they're all still alive. They all managed to get out. They burned 2 minutes of time, and just now the attackers are starting to push this attack, and when you're attacking Trophy... attacking Throne Room, Hitman actually gets a second one as well, so that's 2 kills for him. Reckless aren't looking too strong here on this specific attack, as they are finally going to start trying to execute, but with 40 seconds left and 2 people down, it's not looking too good. Razor gets Hitman, finally shuts him down, and makes sure he can't get any further headshots.
Castle really doing a lot of damage, and he's almost able to take care of Ultra through those footholds, but not enough yet. These impact tricks coming out, the explosion's going to come through from the exothermic charges. Benji is there to take care of Razor. There goes your Buck, and now swinging on out is going to be Braxton, able to take care of Doxy. Now the remaining member is going to be Ultra. Can he clutch up? He'll be able to find one, but Braxton with the Ray Frag, able to take care of Ultra, and Shook Squad will regain the lead here at a 3-2 scoreline.
And this 3-2 scoreline is a pretty close one, and a lot more toward what we sort of expect from a defensive side in Theme Park. They have a chance to go 4-2, which is more toward the standard of what we see here, rather than the other match earlier today, where we saw 6 attacker wins in a row. So this is definitely more true to form for a map like this, and for Siege in general. And so, looking for any potential switch-ups in the lineups, when it comes to Bunk Daycare, Hitman was running Echo before, and he's going to run it again. Clash is being 6th picked onto, but Toady has liked the Zofia, so he's going to stay on that as well. And of course, there are some frag grenades from Razor to flush the Clash out as well. So overall, there's still a decent amount of utility that can take her out, and that's definitely good on the side of the attackers, and it have a pretty good lineup to fight anything that Shook Squad throws at them.
Definitely so. So for the time being right now, it is a 3-2 scoreline. Toady been really quiet here for Team Reckless. I'm not so sure if it's just nerves exactly or what's happening for him, but on this entry fragging roll, hasn't been too apparent for him. He's been able to clear out some utility, but he just cannot find the means to find himself with any kind of picks, which could potentially be hurting Reckless. Although, you know, the rest of the members, they're averaging around the same amount of frags. If Toady were to just try to bump up his confidence, maybe he can find something going for him, and we could possibly even end up at a 3-3 split here to end the first half. We'll see how this round gets played on out. You do have Braxton back on the clash as he did so the last time they were on this bomb site, creating a lot of havoc and a lot of destruction, annoyance for Team Reckless. Although the last time it did happen, it did go in Shook Squad's favor. Hopefully this time around, Toady can use his utility to try to fend off that clash.
And looking at the defensive setup, we have pretty standard overall. Lots of deployable shields being brought. And of course the castle to cover some rotations as well. But in this case, the castle is used more to deny some more attacker gadgets and make sure that the utility gets burned through. We're going to see that come in the form of some of these breach charges that both Ultra and Breezy have continued to take round after round. So again, a lot of soft destruction, but that also means that they can completely counter this castle pretty much on a lot of these situations.
So right now you're currently going to have Benji being able to rotate away from Cafe into the little balcony that you have right there of the metal railing to move in between Vault and Cafe over by Yellow Stairs. And you've already burned off close to half the round here. Drone's going to come out being able to spot out the clash. And now a breach charge coming out from Ultra, able to create, I believe, a rotate. I'm not exactly sure where he's positioned at, but I believe that breach charge was used to create a rotate for his team. Right now, Braxton's just going to keep an eye on over at control, and should his castle barricade fall, which it already does, he's going to have to worry about two different spots at the same time. Hopefully he does have some backup. He's getting shot at a lot. We'll be able to retreat back into Bunk. When Nate comes out from Razor, not going to find really any kind of damage onto the clash, maybe outside of one. Now Razor and Toady trying to push their way through, seeing if they can try to dispatch this clash, but you do also have two more members on the arcade balcony.
I do like how Shook Squad are playing around this clash as well. A lot of times you want to use her to gather information, but for the most part, keep her safe. And these extra rotations back to site have really been helping out in that respect. And as you can see right here, Braxton has a lot of backup, and he's able to continue peeking this angle, getting as much information and map control as he can, denying the map control from the attackers. And right now, it's definitely buying a lot of time as Team Reckless are starting to run out. Hitman gets a headshot onto Breezy, however, and that only goes to show how strong Shook Squad is at holding this site. Finally starting to see an exothermic charge go down, and that'll open up a couple of extra angles, especially onto Braxton, hoping to try to flush him out. But so far, it doesn't look like it's worked. Toady gets one, and turning his back, actually, to Braxton. Razor doesn't know there's someone else coming over here. Benji Mula starts pre-firing in the corner, but Toady actually takes him out instead. Razor runs up, and he gets the melee kill onto Braxton, and now we're in a 1v2. Diffuser's going down. No Echo drones left alive, it looks like. So he's gonna have to peek this corner. Doesn't quite get the shot. He actually gets one. Takes out Toady, but Razor finishes him off.
Razor with a pistol. I believe he ran out of primary ammo inside of his C8. And Hitman just a tad too late. Able to take care of Doxgy. But if he had just moved up just a little bit sooner, he would have been able to secure that round for his team and put him in a 4-2 split here, ending the first half. But Razor rising up to the occasion here for his team. And we're at a 3-3 even split. The Monty being brought out here from the lay, at least in the pick face. We'll see if he locks it in. Looks to be so for the time being. Doxgy probably contemplating, maybe Breezy or Toady to go for a 6-pick. It's going to be Doxgy. A 6-pick from an Echo into an Echo, the old switcheroo. But we are bringing a Goyo as well for Team Reckless on their first defense. If I'm not mistaken, we are going to be heading into Throne Room. No, we're actually going to be heading into Office and Initiation.
Yeah, so Office and Initiation, there are definitely some sites that teams seem to prefer, and I haven't seen Office Initiation be on the top of some teams' lists. Most of the time, I see Armory and Throne or Bunk and Daycare, but this is absolutely a viable site as well. It's just a little bit harder as it is split up by this central hallway. So a lot of rounds come down to which team can really keep control of this connector there, and a lot of times it does go into the way of the attackers. That's part of the reason why roam game is so important on this map, is because you have single lines of sight that can completely cut off rotations like that, where you kind of need a roamer to flank all the way around and catch them out. We do see a Monty being brought by Nile, however, and that is going to be able to give their team a lot of information, as well as just put some extra pressure on the defenders. You know, if a Monty walks right into your room, then you have to call over one of your teammates or retreat.
I don't know if Doxy was the right person to call for that 6 pick, even though it could have been used differently. But I do like this lineup coming out here from Team Reckless. The Yokai drones are going to be so crucial for taking care of this Monty. And the bright side on that for Team Reckless is that there is no IQ being brought here. Instead, you're bringing both an Ash and a Zofia, respectively so, because you want to get rid of as much utility as you possibly can, given that you have bandit batteries, yokai drones, Jaeger ADSs. Goyo shields are the biggest factor here, but maybe you switch out the Ash for the IQ and just let your Sledge and Zofia work around and try to clear out as much utility as you possibly can. I'm not so sure, because you're working through 4 shields. You've got 2 nades and 2 impacts, so you need to make that utility count. But Nile has already pushed his way into the B bomb site, and I don't know if this is a trap being laid out here from Team Reckless, but there is no presence whatsoever in 4 Shook Squad members being brought into initiation.
Razor is down below, but he's playing Jaeger, so he doesn't have a C4. If anything happens, he could potentially shoot up through the floor if Nile were to plant in the correct spot, but it doesn't look like that is going to happen. You can't shoot through that floor, and
where are the yokai drones?
The plant just goes down.
Where are the yokai drones? This is going to be a bloodbath. Braxton coming up big with 2 massive picks. Now the Monty going to get his feet shot at through the drone hole, but won't be able to connect any kind of damage, and Nile will stand strong. Just got to worry about Dashi and Ultra left for Shook Squad. He does have a Goyle shield to shoot behind. This is not looking to go into Team Reckless's favor. Goyle will get blasted off, but Braxton going to get down and finished off by Doxy. Amati able to get fragged off. Doxy going to have to clutch ace here. 13 seconds left to go, but he won't be able to find Benji Mula sitting inside of control, excuse me. And the lack of yokai drones being brought here. No awareness at all from Team Reckless.
Yeah, so it didn't even seem like they realized that the plant went down. And nobody was moving, there was no yokai drones in play, nobody flanked around. It was only after the big phrase, defusers have been planted, popped up on the screen, is when the defense started to mobilize. So that's definitely a misplay there by Team Reckless, and just not covering all their angles. But also, we have to shout out Shook Squad for droning it out and knowing that it was a clear spot. You know, they brought some drones down into the control room and they droned it out. They made sure the Monty was clear to drop. They knew that nobody was flanking around him, and there were just calls that said, okay, you're free to plant. Go ahead and plant. Nobody's peeking you. Nobody's trying to do anything, and that just walked around for him.
A really big lack of awareness from Team Reckless there. I just don't understand how you're playing an Echo to combat the Monty, and you don't have a yokai drone to combat the Monty inside of the bomb site. They were not even aware of Nile pushing into the bomb site. They had a rotate hole to allow for sound to pass through from the initiation bomb site into Bunk. I don't know what the call was there from Team Reckless. Maybe it just wasn't heard because of comms. That's a possible thing. But Team Reckless, that's a really big mistake for them to have made here, especially with the start of the season. But I mean, you know, it's good to make these mistakes, so to speak, in the start of the season. Work out those kinks, see what you can try to do next time. And granted, it is Theme Park, it's the newest map inside of competitive, so I'm just gonna be able to give them a little bit of a break here.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have to see how the rest of their defenses go, because that was their first defense. Perhaps they can switch things up and get a little bit more awareness, play a little bit more toward the site, and make sure that Trick Squad don't really get basically a free walk into sight. They do bring the Monty again, so they could potentially run a similar strat, but it does look like Razor is positioned a little bit better to counter that out. He is going to back off of the angle, however, and we'll see if Shook Squad are able to drone it, because again, that's part of the reason why Shook Squad were able to pull off that play, was because they droned the fact that Reckless wasn't watching anything to do with the site.
Now you've already burned off a minute, and Elay coming in pretty closely here to both Toady and Doxy as he tries to inch his way through into initiation from control. This time around, obviously, for Reckless, they are aware of it. Shot's going to miss from Benji Mula, but the mute coming around here getting completely bullied. C4 possibly could come around. It's going to be tossed into control room. He'll be able to take care of Hitman. There goes your Thermite. That's massive. That's your only set of hard breach. So now Nile just giving out information here, trying to see if he can work around with Doxy. This is going to be really tough here to work around with this Monty. He'll take a lot of damage. It's sitting at about 20 HP, but that's a great opportunity for Toady. He'll take care of Nile, shooting at the back of his heel. And a great pick to come through for Ultra on the mute, swinging his Benji Mula, missing the shots. And now all of a sudden it's on Austin in the control room, and there goes Ultra. Flawless round for Team Reckless. And they are the only team here to own 2 flawless rounds here on Theme Park in this matchup.
Yeah, that was... the attack just kind of fell apart at that point. It was unfortunate to see on the side of Shook Squad, because they were in control of that round prior to this one. And in this round, they just didn't cover for each other well enough. Toady got a beautiful C4 off that took out whoever was covering the Monty, and there was nobody to follow up on it too. Monty was just alone inside initiation, and he just slowly got beat down until he was eventually dead. And that at that point, the control was back in the defensive favor for initiation, and it seemed like Shook Squad sort of panicked after that pick came through.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Well, we just had a quick game over on Jacob's stream. A 7-2 victory for Bruh against Senshi on Consulates. So that's it's really impressive to coming through for Bruh. And both those teams are the invited teams, the gifted teams, so to speak, entering into this season of Challenger League. So Bruh putting in very good work there. 7-2 on Consulate against Senshi.
10 seconds to go.
And looking at the defense for this round, seems like
5 seconds remaining.
gonna be bringing another Goyo. Got a Valk on the board as well, some smoke. So overall, a pretty decent amount of plant deny, but so far we've seen they haven't really needed that plant deny. Either Shook Squad run in and plant without them knowing, or Shook Squad end up getting snuffed out by the defense and just aren't able to hold the correct angles. So far, we're seeing Shook Squad on their attack. They're still bringing the Monty, so they're really feeling this Monty strat is going to work out. Last round didn't work out too well for them, but this time, a lot of it seems like it could have been solved by just some extra vigilance, making sure that you keep the Monty safe. Because last time, again, after that first pick came through the C4, Monty was left alone, and there was really nobody around to help him, so you can't really expect him to do much in that situation. And with a bit more of a present mindset from Shook Squad to make sure that they cover him, they might be able to pull off something with Monty again. The tough part is that when you're playing Monty in this meta, there's so many guns everywhere. There's deployable shields from Goyo, there's some from, there's one from Smoke, and so all of those require you to vault over, which means you have to take your shield down.
We're actually going to start things off very hot here, taking care of Razor, who's been one of the top performing members from Team Reckless here. There goes your Jaeger. We've already successfully burned off half the round, though, as Nile will start to transition his way into initiation. But you are having to worry about Ultra all the way over at the arcade balcony, who is being contested by both Nile and Benji Mula.
Things go down on the Monty, trying to tell their teammates exactly where he is. Ooh. Rizzi almost gets his head taken off as he tries to throw a Toxic Babe. Toxic Babe will connect briefly, but Nile is unable to get taken down from that.
So Nile trying to push his way through into initiation. Believe a C4 is going to be rotated down below. This could be massive here to come through for Ultra. Pings are coming out, but it's not on the right mark just yet. Ultra blows it, it's not going to make its mark, and there down goes Nile though. Hitman able to take care of Doxy, but Breeze will also bite the dust here, and all of a sudden you're leaving it all on Ultra. Benji Mula is there, ready to watch the flank from Dragon Stairs. Ultra will get taken down here very handedly. Oh no, he didn't come. Oh yeah, he did come from Dragon Stairs. Cool.
And so, again, another situation where Reckless, they just seem to sort of falter under the Shook Squad Monty strategy. And at that point, it came down to the amount of people. Again, they did what we wanted them to do in terms of switching up their last round. They covered the Monty a lot better. Even after the C4 happened, they were still able to peek around and get the kills on everyone who was trying to peek around to confirm the Monty down. And so one after another, Shook Squad ended up falling, and now Reckless take it back a little bit.
Defenders protect your bombs
Shook
from
Squad
being defused
bring
by
themselves
attackers.
into a farther bit of favor. So I'm having some technical difficulties with my my personal setup, so we'll try to figure that out.
Yeah, so right now Shook Squad can come in a 1-round advantage. Now it's been very back and forth. I've been very impressed with how Reckless have been able to respond to Shook Squad's advancements on their attacks. And, you know, we could see our first tie here in Challenge League between the both of these teams, depending how these next few rounds play out. And they've gone ahead and standard reinforcements inside of Throne Room, looking into maintenance and barrels, as well as reinforcing off the north walls. Those are the standard reinforcements for your six reinforcements. And the other 4 can be used however you want to. Some teams opt to reinforce the Dragon Wall, which is being used to shotgun open by Breezy here, and he'll elect to at least reinforce one of those walls, if not both of them. So I would like to see for Reckless to rotate up above and try to go on a duo roam, possibly put both Toady and Razor together, maybe even bring on Breezy to try to go for a triple roam up above, and then just try to waste as much time as possible. It looks to be, for right now, it's exactly what Razor will be doing inside a control room, though.
Yeah, so he's in control, but he's the only one on the second floor so far. I think I want to see someone else on the side of Reckless basically act as a roam pair and bail him out if he needs, or refrag if he ends up dying. But so far that doesn't look like it's going to be the case, and everyone else on the side of Reckless are going to stay relatively close to site. There is always the possibility of a late flank, but when you know that Nile has been playing Monty pretty much every round, I definitely want to see more than one roamer at least. And it seems like people over on the drug lab side of the map are starting to mobilize a little bit, but at the same time, Razor has pulled off of his angle, and he is now back on the first floor. So overall, just a bit of a conflicting theory when we come to looking at how Nile, again, is running this Monty.
Oh, that actually got tricked by Doxy. What a play from the Bandit player, able to take care of the exothermic charge. Knows Zofia around to stop that Bandit trick from going off. It's going to really bite them. And Shook Squad are really committed to wanting to stick to this maintenance push. They'll use the lax exothermic charge to open up the wall, but that's your last piece of hard breach utility. But this does allow for Nile to push on through into the bomb site. For the time being right now, Braxton just hiding inside a locker, awaiting for any potential flank to come around, as Nile will start to feed information with this Monty shield into the throne room bomb site.
Yeah, and information is being given, but oh, there goes the goo mine. Just able to shoot it, his partner is. So nothing happening on that end quite yet, but he's going to push into site, takes a little bit of damage, but he is a 3 armor operator, so it's not going to hurt him too much quite yet. But they are still poking on the site. Meanwhile, the rest of Shook Squad don't seem to be setting up angles. They're still trying to push in around the same angle as Monty. And at this point, we're finally starting to see someone wrap around. That's going to be Braxton going over to take advantage of some of these distracted eyes. And he manages to take out Doxy, but he gets flanked on by Razor. And Razor, that's the late flank we were talking about. Can they do anything about this Monty, however, who is going to drop his shield, and he immediately gets dropped afterwards. Hitman manages to refrag it, but Benji Mula does end up accidentally shooting his teammate in the head before he gets taken out by a C4 too. This is not Shook Squad's round. Hitman left alone trying to clutch it with 10 seconds left. He's not going to do it. Razor takes him out over at the long angle. And again, I think Shook Squad focused a little bit too much on pushing the same side as their Monty.
Yeah, like I've mentioned it before. I don't think I've really mentioned it much this map, but in all honesty, the easiest way to take this bomb site, in my opinion, from what I've seen, is to take a buck up above Armory inside of office and initiation. You start breaching a lot of soft destruction. You can probably bring the Ash there as well. Maybe bring breach charges on the Thatcher, on the Zofia, and you bring a buck instead of an Ash. I really don't understand why teams bring both an Ash and a Zofia. I think if you should only bring either one, depending on what your lineup wants to do. I like that they're wanting to use the Monty to make it easier for their attacks to push, but half the time it really hasn't been working out here for Shook Squad. Trading out the Thatcher for a Sledge, though, is something that I'm not keen on from Austin here. That's obviously a call coming out from Nile or Braxton, but
yeah,
we'll see
especially
how
since
this Sledge works.
especially since Mute is very popular in the current meta, where you definitely want to be able to take out those Mute jammers either behind reinforced walls or around doors so you can get information on with your drones. So they're not going to have that option now. They're going to have to rely on basically frag grenades at this point in order to take those out, because you don't have an IQ to sense them from below and shoot them out, and you don't have the EMP grenades from Thatcher. So that is definitely a questionable decision. And I also want to touch on something Uzumaki mentioned before about bringing both Ash and Zofia, is that Maestro is banned as well, and usually I can more easily see an Ash and Zofia both being brought if there's, say, a Maestro on the board, and one team's been playing Maestro a lot, because you can take out those cams from a very long distance. But when he's banned, you obviously don't run that risk, so there's definitely less they could use that utility on, and yeah, they could definitely use some different operators on their side, because they've been running this the entire time, and it's been about 50-50.
Yeah, hopefully Shook Squad does heed that advice that I've been giving. Obviously, they don't really have to. It's their team. They can do what they want. But I would like to see the Ash, most of all, traded out in favor of, an IQ or a buck, just to try to give yourself that much more comfortability when you're attacking the bomb site. The castle from Breezy is going to be met with the Monty of Nile, as well as he isn't aware of Benji Mula sitting inside a cafe. He has taken a little bit of damage, though. Not so sure to what. But you do have Austin down below. Just hopefully if he can nade, but he's not even aware of Razor down below inside of barrels going undroned. That's a great pick to come through and start off round number 11 here for Team Reckless. And either team needs to win 2 rounds in a row here if they want to secure those 3 points. Braxton able to take care of Breezy, as the ump in hand is not going to really deal any kind of damage to Braxton. Only 1 shot, but the smoke grenade's going to miss, and that's a big waste of utility here to come through for Nile.
Especially since he's the only one bringing smokes right now, so that is both of them going down. They're able to occlude the vision of any defenders who might try to run out and take out that exothermic charge, but it seems like they are all grouped up here in Cafe as they get the wall open, but at what cost is it going to have? Because, oh, he jumps over the vault from Doxg, takes him out with the shotgun. Braxton goes down, and that is a huge pick.
That's going in the montage, Doxg. Oh my goodness, he just styled on the content creator. Now, right around the corner, Ultra. Good night, Benji Mula. We'll see you later, pal. And now it's all on Nile here. Taking out the C4, but a great shot from Ultra with the hip fire. Takes care of Nile. And now all of a sudden it's on Hitman inside the cafe. Hitman has been clutch here for his team time and time again, but I honestly don't see him coming away. And Razor sharp on the angle, taking care of Hitman. And Team Reckless are 1 round away from securing themselves these next 3 points.
That was definitely a stylish round by the side of Reckless. And over on the side of Shook Squad, again, they're the main problem I have with their lineup, first of all, like you've mentioned over and over, they're bringing these same sets of operators, but they're not giving themselves enough space to work with them. We have the Monty pretty much every round, but when you have both Ash and Zofia, that's not really a lot of support for the Monty other than just, hey, these are 2 really good fraggers. Having a Maverick on the board instead of the Ash, I think, is great. You have some extra frag grenades. You have, okay, so they're taking the Maverick instead of the Monty instead of the Ash. But in either case, I think Maverick is a really good pick here because you can open up some extra line of sights. You have the frag grenades, which can be entirely huge here. And we've seen some good work happening all over the place today with some frag grenades, so I think this is a good change from Braxton. I think it might be a little bit too late, however, as at this point, if they win this round, they can only tie it.
Wow, Razor and Ultra have really stepped it up here. And like I mentioned before we started the game, look out for the both of them because they will absolutely stunt on whoever they come across, and they've done so in this matchup. Big shout out to Hitman really for playing on that flex support role. He's the top fragger for his team. Nile, you know, he's been playing a lot of support with the Monty. He hasn't had many opportunities to frag. His main job has mostly just been trying to plant down that diffuser.
5
But
seconds to go.
time has come to put away the Monty for Nile and go on the Ash, which is where he truly belongs, at least what he says. And from what we've seen somewhat in open qualifiers, he can be a bit of a hit or miss player. He does struggle with some inconsistencies, but hopefully this time around for the Shook Squad fans and Shook Squad themselves, hopefully this Ash can be used to full effect for Nile. The best Ash that I've really seen from Nile has mostly just been from Coastline, and obviously with Theme Park being the newest map here, I can't really judge him on it. So we'll see how he manages to work with this Ash in the final round of play for Theme Park.
On the bright side, at this point, he's definitely used to this R4C and without the ACOG as well, so hopefully he's going to be able to peek some people and get some early frags on the board for his team. But of course, a lot of that does come down to droning. You can be an incredible Ash player, but if you don't know where the enemies are, there's a good chance that you're going to be the one who gets shot down before you even see the angles. So overall, good drone work by Shook Squad that we're seeing so far. They have quite a few of them set up, and only one of them has been taken out so far. So overall, very good information on the side of Shook Squad left on the board. And they're moving pretty quickly, too. They have a decent amount of map control for only being 1 minute into the round. They're about to get this exothermic charge down in Cash Room, and that's going to go down, nothing to cancel it. And so at this point, Shook Squad are actually in a decent amount of control when it comes to map control, and we see Benji Mula down this hallway here. He can cover the rotations if anything were to happen, but Ultra gets the first frag onto Nile.
Nah.
So unfortunately, the Ash not able to do anything yet.
That's tough for Nile, man. I feel for you, man. Ultra just completely slapping Shook Squad in this matchup on Theme Park. 11-7 for the boy, in his debut here, and he's also a content creator as well for Powerhouse GG. So we've got a lot of content creators in this matchup. But now Hitman, the man, the myth, the legend, will fall to Razor.
Attackers recover the
Headshot
diffuser.
onto the Thermite. Great start here for Reckless as Razor finds himself a double, trying to go for a triple onto the Maverick sitting inside a Cash. Now Braxton will have to step up here alongside Benji Mula. Both of them have done pretty decent here in this matchup, but the diffuser is down and it's going to be protected closely by a shotgun. Swinging around, a great blast from Breezy. He'll take care of Braxton, and now Benji Mula will have to clutch ace in the next 45 seconds. Sees Breezy, not able to find any damage onto the mute whatsoever. He does have two members that are very low on HP with Razor and Breezy. But now he's going to rotate his assault from over on the Cash side of things, going to rotate over towards Yellow Stairs. He does have an opportunity to rotate into the bomb site, but there's Ultra, the man to take down Benji Mula. Shook Squad fall here 7-5 against Team Reckless.
And Reckless showing up big time here, especially as you mentioned before, Ultra taking out that entire last round. Ultra just completely clutched it out. It was very, very good to see. And overall, I think a lot of this match came down to frags more than it should have. You know, there was a lot of contested fights that I think shouldn't